What's up, guys? Welcome to the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic. We made it our mission to help you guys own it. It's Stock Watch Sunday. It's a favorite night of the week. Fat Man Zoom, we have a jam-packed show for them tonight. But before we get to anything, let's get everybody up to the starting five.
Starting five, we have housekeeping. Nina, Philip Stroh, Sam Cisneros, and Oliver Thorpe. You are our starting five. I'm actually just reading all of housekeeping's comments in the beginning. Nvidia earnings. We will talk about Nvidia. It's received a pullback. So that's definitely one of the topics we're going to have today. If you guys haven't been here before, welcome to Stock Watch Sunday. This is our anchor piece of content. This is where we talk about what's going on in the week. We talk about headlines. More importantly, you stick around to the end because at the end, Brad will give you his top 5 stocks on the watch list for this week. So welcome. I bid you adieu. And welcome back to all our Chaos crew members.
Yes,
that flowed really well.
Hey, just heads up. I don't have a top 5.
Oh, shit.
I just thought we were covering all the earnings like we have been, but
my bad.
That's okay. We're just going to cover all the earnings.
Top 5 last week?
No, not since earnings season started because there was just so many.
I'm so used to that.
It's all good. We're still going to cover all of the earnings for this week. I just want to make sure we didn't confuse people.
My bad. No top 5 because we do the Monday. We're supposed to do Monday top 5.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. My bad. I lost my train of thought. Forget everything I said. I didn't flow over.
It's all good.
But we're about to get in, and we have a new segment that we're about to get into.
Yeah.
But let's just generally talk about this week. How are you feeling about the overall market this week, and what's standing out to you?
I feel good. You know, the market took a little bit of a breather last week. Obviously, there was a lot of doomsdayers, and the sky is falling because of the CPI numbers and that sort of thing. I personally believe that obviously the CPI numbers were from last month. And Goldman Sachs is actually coming around to admitting that some of this stuff that we're seeing is actually transitory and cited a couple of things. We'll get into that later in the week. But just as a general comment, I thought that the pullback and the response that the market had with those CPI numbers wasn't as great as it should have been if people were actually worried about inflation being super sticky. So I think that the reaction that we saw, the market corrected, the S&P corrected around 2%. And then we actually ended up starting moving up on Friday. So I think that the Santa Claus rally is still very much intact. And I think that the overall rally is still much intact going into the end of the year. So I feel very positive about everything that I'm holding, even though it was a rough week for me.
Yeah. What were your thoughts about the sentiments about the Rivian IPO that happened this past week?
It's very interesting. So we're going to have a video coming out Wednesday. And it's going to be revolving around this topic. I think that we are getting close. I'm not going to call it a bubble because I don't think we're anywhere close to a bubble, but I think that we're getting close to a leveling out of EV stocks in general. I mean, with the valuation, obviously with Tesla, but now we're looking at it at Rivian. I think that this is just an excuse for institutions to get into an EV because they missed the boat on Tesla. So they're just trying to run it back. And I don't think that that's actually going to work with something like Rivian. And we're obviously seeing that with Lucid. They have earnings this week too. So I think that with the valuation that we're seeing from Rivian, and I've been adamant about this, I do think it's way too expensive. And it's going to be a long time before we even see any kind of hint of that growing into their valuation. I know that evaluations don't always matter when it comes to the price of the stock. But man, like I just can't constitute buying something all the way up here.
All right. So Philip says Rivian is worth $100 million and they make 2 trucks a day.
they're worth more than $100 million now. I think it's like 120 or something. Crazy. The stock went up to like $138.
Yeah. Wild. So they make 2 trucks a day.
Yeah.
I agree with you. So all right. So let's get right into this new segment called Believe It or Not.
Yes.
So the idea here is I'm going to make a general statement about something regarding the stock market and a stock or crypto. And I want you to tell me, do you believe it or not? Okay. Very simple.
Got it.
All right. So we are going to start with Sweetgreen IPO. So Sweetgreen IPO is this Wednesday, the 17th. Are you familiar with Sweetgreen?
I am.
So Sweetgreen, for those of you guys who don't know, is basically a Chipotle for a salad. And really cool concept. Came out of Georgetown, actually by Georgetown students. alums had while they're students had created the concept and they launched it afterwards. So really cool model. I don't even know how many locations they have, but they've been growing. So they're going public.
Fun fact: there's one right across the street from the studio.
Yeah, there is one right across the street. And I'm going to keep this very simple. Sweetgreen IPO will go off.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe it only because I've like had boots on the ground due diligence. I mean, and the concept of this company is amazing, and I think that with the money that they'll raise from this, they could really blow up. I could see them being a Chipotle, being in the I guess realm of Chipotle eventually at one
like the same conversation.
Yeah, because of like the products are
Yeah.
that they use is so they're all natural products. You don't have to worry about like GMOs and stuff like that if that's something that bothers you. I just think that and the food's great. It's healthy for you and it tastes great. And I think that they could easily do, I don't know, they could do really well.
Yeah.
In their IPO.
Yeah, and I think popular brands like that, having the name recognition certainly helps you going into your IPO. So stay tuned for that. We will be live for obviously that reaction on Wednesday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
The next one is crypto. Let's get this out of the way. Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin had news. They had their first upgrade in 4 years. It's called Taproot. And here's sort of the gist of it. The gist is it's really leaning towards smart contracts, but it's focused on privacy and efficiency of Bitcoin. And this will essentially allow them to move towards smart contracts. So, we've always thought about Bitcoin as a store of value.
Yeah.
And you're just playing it off of essentially the scarcity, the scarcity model.
Yeah.
This basically implies that there's more to Bitcoin than just that. Ethereum's known as the smart coin sort of, the smart contract sort of crypto altcoin. Here's my question to you, Brad. This isn't the believe it or not, but do you think this actually helps Bitcoin in general?
Yeah, I think it definitely would ease a lot of anxiety that maybe institutions or even retail folks would have, the individual would have on, there's been a lot of talk about lack of security and that sort of thing.
So is it a good move?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we also know that Ethereum has been outperforming Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like handily.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, this news is what gets the ball moving towards Bitcoin outperforming Ethereum over the next 12 months.
I don't believe that for a second.
No? Why?
I just think Ethereum still has a much bigger bull case for them, only because of the use case. And then we have Ethereum 2.0 coming out. And I think that all is going to continue to generate hype. Plus, obviously, the price of Ethereum is much lower, which makes it more attractive. I think you're going to see a lot more people pile into something like Ethereum, especially those who feel like they missed a boat on Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin's gonna be fine. I actually still think that $100,000 per Bitcoin is still achieved by the end of the year. I even think that 250 could be achieved by next year. But I still think Ethereum could see 15, 17,000 in that same time span, which means that it would outperform Bitcoin still handily.
And you guys feel free to throw in whether you believe it or not. And if you agree with Brad, disagree with Brad, why or why not. I just want to add to that really quick. So as far as Bitcoin's concerned, this is actually originally what I was going to ask you. I thought it was too easy to say, believe it or not, Bitcoin will be at 100,000 because you already believe it's going to be at 100,000.
Yeah.
It's not going to change. But I was just going to ask, do you think this is sort of the catalyst that gets it moving? Is this something that is a headline that gets picked up, or is this something that we forget about in a week and is whatever?
Yeah, I think this is probably something we forget about in a week. It's good news.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's enough to really get people buying it. It's not going to be something like the Bitcoin futures that really kind of got people more interested in buying Bitcoin itself. I think the overall rally and even as people continue to get louder and louder about inflation, you'll start to see more and more inflows into Bitcoin to hedge against inflation. I think that's really going to be the reason that it starts moving.
Okay, cool. Next question I have regarding our dear friend Baba. Shout out to Jack Ma, free Jack Ma. Baba has earnings on Thursday. Believe it or not, $200 end of the year.
I believe it.
Really?
I believe
Wow.
it. I do.
Why the change of heart?
So I think that earnings are certainly going to be a thing, and we talked about this within our chaos crew as well. But we've talked on this channel a lot, especially me. I've been one that's been super skeptical and super kind of nervous about getting into anything Chinese related,
Yeah.
because of what the Chinese government has done to a lot of these large cap stocks. Um, I think that the Chinese government backs off a little bit. And I think they back off until at least early spring when it comes to really laying the hammer down on some of the regulations that they've put on some of these stocks. The one big reason why I think that could be it, and this is 100% hypothetical, and I'm
Speculating.
I'm speculating big time on this, but I think the Chinese government in particular, they're all about image, right? I think that's safe to say that, safe to assume that. And I think if we look at the Olympics that are coming up in February, the last thing that they want to do is paint themselves in any kind of negative light and kind of like stir the pot a little bit. So I think that they probably more or less lay low through the Olympics. And then if they were going to do something, as far as, becoming, laying down more restrictions, that it probably won't come until after the Olympics. And so I think for that reason, Baba comes in, they have great earnings, which I think will happen this week. And the stock starts to move up. I think it participates in the rally that I think we might end up seeing, especially with like a Santa Claus rally or something like that.
I got a bonus on that one. JD has earnings as well.
Yeah, a lot of them. Pinduo, Duo, Billy, all of them.
So JD, I would say, like comparing them to Baba, would be the closest. Which one do you think outperforms?
Oh, that's a really good question. So here's Alibaba. This is a daily chart on that. That's been holding above the 50-day moving average for about 2-3 weeks, and that's done really well. And so we're looking at JD, you said?
Yeah.
We'll take a look at the JD chart here. So if you guys don't know JD.com, these are Alibaba. Obviously, most of you all know. JD is also another e-commerce platform. This is actually looking really good too.
Yeah.
I think that this could be the start. This turn up could be the start of a potential giant cup and handle pattern on the daily chart here. So I think that if this gets up above 87, there's potential for this to outperform Baba. I think there's certainly an opportunity there.
I agree. I think the rate of growth is faster for JD. Baba's been around longer.
Yeah.
So the numbers are going to be bigger, but the growth is, I think, going to be greater for JD. And I don't think that's a bold prediction.
Yeah.
So I agree. And I think they're both going to do well. That chart does look good.
What are your thoughts on my theory with the Chinese government in the Olympics?
I agree. I agree. I think in general, listen, when you hit people's wallets, like at some point, like they were trying to do something to prevent collusion and monopolies and monopolistic practice and all that.
Yeah.
And I get it, but it also, you see the implications around the world. And so they have to understand, listen, this is now hurting us. And so now we all lose.
Yeah.
So maybe they just did it in one fell swoop and that was it. Listen, there's going to be other things that they do and that happens, but I also think they're probably going to ease up a little bit with certain people. And this is a really good reason to do that. So there's going to always be Chinese conversations, but listen, they're if they didn't care about sort of the global landscape, Tesla wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Starbucks wouldn't be there. Apple wouldn't be there. So like, I do think there is some monetary motivation, but yes, I think, listen, ad revenue, perception, global reach, all that stuff is going to be important for them. So yeah, I agree, at least minimum. So this is something they need to like just calm people down a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So the next thing we have is another earnings, Nvidia, Fat Man Zoom special. Nvidia has earnings Wednesday. It's been on an absolute tear. A lot of semis have been on an absolute tear. But it recently hit all-time highs.
Yes.
My question to you, as far as Nvidia is concerned, given earnings this week, that could be a potential catalyst. Believe it or not, now make sure you hear this correctly.
Okay.
Nvidia will not hit another all-time high this year.
I don't believe it.
So it will hit an all-time high.
I think it will hit another all-time high.
Really?
Yeah. I was kind of torn about this because I wanted to say that, yes, we saw the top of Nvidia, but with these earnings, I would be very surprised if they came in and said, we're going to continue to experience, troubles with the shortage and stuff like that, especially now that we're hearing from GM and a lot of the other auto manufacturers that are like, everything's back online. We're good to go. We're cranking out cars. Even though there's a shortage issue, everything's back as usual. So I think that Nvidia also expresses the same sentiment, and I think that could actually move this stock even higher than it has. I mean, we hit $750 billion market cap last week, and we're still there. Yeah, man, this is the next $1 trillion stock. I think. I don't think it happens this year, but I think probably 2022 we'll see Nvidia at $1 trillion.
Okay. Oh man. Okay, so this is another question regarding $1 trillion stock. So Tesla is $1 trillion stock.
Yeah.
Tesla, Elon's in the news again regarding, obviously he sold shares.
Yep.
Of his stake of Tesla. He also retweeted Warren Buffett, which you're about to get into. Or not retweeted, sorry, responded to Warren Buffett. Jesus, I can't even speak. Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders. I mean, they look the same. They're just like two old dead guys. Old dead guys walking.
Oh God.
When I think about like The Walking Dead and like zombie movies, it looks like in my mind like Bernie Sanders and Warren Buffett. Anyways, moving on. So anyways, Tesla's still in the news. Elon's still going to be in the news this week. Sold off shares. The stock is pulled back about 15% since its all-time highs. My question regarding Tesla is Tesla is currently a $1 trillion stock. Will Tesla still be a $1 trillion stock or roughly $1,000 a share by January 1, 2022? Sorry, 2022.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and this might be one that I'm actually wrong about, but I do not think that Tesla will be a $1,000 stock by the end of the year.
So it will no longer be a $1 trillion company come the beginning of next year.
Correct.
Okay. Where do you think it could go? Or I guess explain why would be the sentiment.
I think that if we look at how much Elon has sold as far as his stake is concerned, he made it very clear last week, and it seems like he's following through with that, that he was selling 10%. So that would equate to around 17 million shares worth of Tesla stock.
He was going to sell 10% of his shares.
170 million share stake.
Yep. Okay.
So he's only sold 1.2 million shares.
Okay. So is that 16.8 million or 15.8 million left?
Yeah, we got a long ways to go if he's going to follow through with that.
Wow.
So, I'm not going to sit here and just be like, yeah, I'm super bearish on Tesla, but I think that that's going to be a lot to overcome. And so, maybe institutions come in and say, hey, we're going to scoop all this up. Or maybe Elon comes right back in and says, guess what? I'm buying some more. I'm buying it all back. I don't know. But I think that this is, if you just follow through with this straight up, I think that this might be something that will be really tough to overcome. And I don't know if this sees $1,000 at the end of the year because of that.
Well, I guess you got to, for me to like understand this, I got to go back and ask you, is this like sell-off, this 16% sell-off, do you think it's due to, how much do you think it's due to Elon selling?
I think it has a lot to do with what, with Elon.
So if he didn't sell any of that, you think it would still be right around all-time highs?
Yeah. At this point, I don't think there would have been any reason to sell going into the end of the year other than the fact that Elon's selling a huge chunk of it.
So if you're saying that 1.2 million shares has moved at 16%, like I said, it's 15.8 million shares left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're talking about more than 10 times of that.
Yep.
So then where will this, like, how bad could this get, I guess, is the real question.
So I mentioned this last week. We talked about this a little bit in the possibilities of where Tesla could go, because we were looking at it around $1,200 a share last week. That was around the highs. And we looked at the chart, guys, and I'd said that there's possibility that this could come back and don't rule out the $800 level. That's a 50-day moving average, $886 thereabouts. 884 is what the 50-day moving average is. Look at the 200-day; it's all the way down at 733. So, I mean, I think that there's certainly a possibility that this could come down and retest those levels. Absolutely, the stock was so hot on as far as being overbought for literally 2 weeks straight. And I think that the cool off here could last, maybe even longer than that. We've seen this from Tesla before. It cools off a little while and then it goes crazy. And then I think that this could be the time where we see this kind of pull back a little bit.
I mean, your best guess, like, how long do you think do you think Tesla, that Elon will sell 10% of his shares?
I don't have any reason not to believe him.
And if that's the case, how long do you think it would take? 'Cause, I'd imagine he's doing this because he doesn't want to dump 17 million shares at once, right? Like,
yeah.
This is probably not even his doing. It's probably speaking to the board saying, hey, what's the best way for me to execute?
I don't think he's talking to the board about it at all.
Well,
as far as like
they have any say, and I'm not saying they're saying how much he should sell, but hey, I'm about to sell 10%.
Yeah.
I'm about to sell 17 million shares. You don't think they have any say in how he distributes 17 million shares?
No, I think he does. I thought you were talking about like his like tweets and shit.
No. Like, I'm sure they would say, hey, can you try to spread this out? And I'm sure somebody probably advises on what the best way to do it is. How long do you think it could take?
That's a great question. If he maintains the pace, this goes into the end of the year.
Yeah.
This goes past the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that he's trying to get rid of all of these before the end of the year. So I think that the selling could potentially accelerate. And this is, again, me being speculative and I'm hypothesizing here, but I think that there's, I think potentially he could either want to get rid of this before the end of the year or just up until the 2022 deadline in August, I believe, is when he needs to take care of this whole situation.
Yeah. Which I think is the move either way. Like, I can't imagine if he dumped all those shares at once.
No.
Or even like in that's still a ton of shares.
I don't think he would do that, only because I think he does love his investors. He knows that we're all like, I don't think he would consciously do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he said what he said to Bernie today. I think it was very cryptic. You know how Elon is. You guys saw, he said that Bernie said we demand extremely wealthy pay in their fair share. Elon, of course, responded and said, I keep forgetting that you're still alive, which is what everybody's talking about.
Which is a great line.
Yes, but
it still reigns supreme.
The real cryptic message here was down below. It said, want me to sell more stock, Bernie? Just say the word. I think this is just a cryptic way of him saying, guess what, guys? I'm still not done. There's more coming.
Yeah.
Kind of like what he did last week, being just kind of like saying, guess what? I got this thing I got to do. If you guys don't want to hang around, I don't blame you. Or whatever. Maybe he is. That's just my thoughts.
Ampersand says if he maintains his selling pace, it will go another approximate 2 weeks, not till the end of the year. I will ask you, Ampersand, if you're so confident in that, break it down. How many has he sold? How many does he have left to sell? And how many per week is that? Because I'm having trouble adding that number up, but I'm giving you a shot to break that down.
1.2 million a week.
So
doesn't add. Okay.
Nephilim. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Tesla will be 2,000 by the end of the 2,000 plus by the end of the year. Dig deeper and look at Tesla progress. Stop counting what he's selling. End of the year, he has bill to pay. Now, I don't encourage somebody calling us idiots. It's weak, but the point in there is legitimate. So I'll entertain this. First off, Tesla. I don't even know why I address this, because anybody who thinks Tesla by the end of the year is like bonkers.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did that, but let me just say
why you said bonkers?
Yeah. No. Why I even brought it up? Because it's almost like entertaining a question that's so outlandish.
Yeah.
It won't double in 2 months, not even 2 months, a month and a half.
Yeah.
So like, that's just ridiculous if you believe that. But my point of why I did bring this up is it's not about counting what he's selling. It's like guaranteed shares on the market. And when you sell shares, there's repercussions of that. We're not saying there's anything fundamentally different about the stock. We're not saying that our conviction changes about the stock, but stocks move up and down, and you're trying to do your due diligence to understand what's going to be the headwind or the tailwind.
Yeah.
Executives selling shares is a headwind.
Yeah.
Executives that are the CEO is a bigger headwind. And you know what the biggest headwind is? Executives selling shares that are founders of the company.
Yeah.
Well, he bought it, but basically turned it into Tesla. That is the ultimate headwind. So if you don't think it's going to impact the stock, you're smoking crack.
Which it has. It's down what we say, 12, 15%?
16% it's down from its highs.
Yeah.
Which feels like, I calculated, I'm like, damn, it's down that much. Like I knew it went down, but I'm like, that's 16%.
Bro, so Tesla lost an entire Intel in market cap last week. They lost all of what Intel is worth last week.
Oh
It
man.
was wild.
Yeah, I want to see if our guy Ampersand, did he respond? And he's only sold 37% of shares he's planning to sell. David Lee did post the numbers. That's where we were actually looking. Cooking with Stock says he sold 33% as of today. Sorry, 37%.
I was looking at Barron's. Barron's said that 1.2 million shares were sold. That was according to Barron's. That was my source.
Okay. Gotcha. So guys, give us your source.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it is 38%, yes. So what Ampersand is saying, he sold 38% in the last week. He's saying 6.4 million shares is where he heard that. Listen, where'd you get it from? Like, I'm like asking in a true sense, because I actually did not know the number.
Here you go. Musk sold another 1.2 million shares on Friday. That brings, so the total's to 4.8. So that's probably correct.
So, well, 4.8
million shares worth for the week. So $5.2 billion and 250. So I just read it as he's just sold 1.2 for the week. So yeah, it is. So that's probably right.
They're on 28%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably right.
Okay.
I stand corrected.
Thanks for that. So anyways, the point is it's important to know. And if you're in the stock, he's going to sell more. The conversation still lasts. The only thing that changes is the timeline.
Yeah.
It could be a couple weeks, a couple more weeks. We'll see what happens. It should play. It should play. And you're saying that you think over the next couple of weeks, it could continue to fall down.
Yeah. People lost their minds when there were $5 billion offerings. I mean, I can't imagine when you continue to sell billions of dollars worth of stock, what it does. I mean, we've already seen what it's done in just the first week of selling. Now, things could change, but if this trajectory continues, and like I said, there's still plenty of room for this stock to correct. If we just hit the 50-day moving average, that's still at 884. And then you have the 200 down here around the 700. So there's still room for this to correct before you even start to have the bearish conversation. So even if this comes down to the 50-day and sits there, you still feel bullish about Tesla.
What's a 50-day?
It's at 884.
And that's a good point. So 8 Ninja Squirrel says, good things are coming. Factories will open. Deliveries are strong. Credit rating will improve. Yes. What you need to understand about what we're saying is what Brad's saying is Brad's not saying that the stock is that he's bearish on the stock.
No.
Right? Like you're bullish on the company.
Yeah.
You're bullish on the long term, but nothing is linear, nothing straight up, nothing straight down. Right? That's where volatility plays. So what you're saying is there could be some profit taking, but essentially you haven't outright said it, but what you're saying essentially is if it comes down, it's a buy.
Yeah.
So you like the stock.
I still like the stock. Yeah. But I'm not willing to buy it all the way up here. And given what we're in the middle of, I think that I got time on my side with this one.
Yeah. So don't get caught up. Like when I have friends who call me about the market and they're like, Apple had really good earnings. They beat on revenue. They beat on earnings per share. The stock went down. I don't get it, right? Yeah. That's the same thing. They're going to call me and they're going to say, Tesla had strong delivery numbers. They have factories open. They have all this. The stock went down. There are other factors than just what meets the eyes. And that's what we're trying to do is look at the due diligence and look beyond just whatever is on the surface. We got to look at whatever is coming in the future. Danny Alvarado, people don't understand corrections are healthy. Corrections are absolutely healthy. And corrections are the opportunities that we're looking for to be able to get the gains.
100%. And like I said, I mean, it's still got tons of room to come down. it could drop down another 15% and it's still in bullish territory. That's how much this has run up.
Here's another question. I asked you about 1,000, 1,100, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
But Tesla, does it hit 900 first or get back to 1,200?
I took the bull side last time around when you asked me this hypothetical. I think I'm going to take the bear side on this a little bit, and I'm going to say 900 before it gets back to 1,200.
If it falls below 1,000, I think it might be a tough go to get back up over it.
Yeah. I think that becomes a resistance again.
Yeah. And it might settle around there or whatever, but like getting back to 1,200 will be very interesting. If it blows past that without any other impending catalyst, that's going to be, I think it'll be a surprise to me.
I agree.
How many people we got in the house?
We got 200 folks hanging out with us tonight. So really good turnout for our Stock Watch Sunday. So thanks for hanging out, guys. If you wouldn't mind showing us some more support, if you're enjoying the stream so far and the convo that we're having, hit that thumbs up. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. If you're not, then welcome back. But if you guys haven't checked it out already, go to ownthechaos.com. We put out a watch list for our folks, for our Chaos Crew folks there at ownthechaos.com. Again, the link's in the description, and it's free. If you guys want the free version, you can go check that out. We put out 5 stocks every day before the market opens, just to kind of give you a snapshot of what we think's moving during the day. Most of the time, we end up crushing that watch list, so go check it out. Again, it's for absolutely nothing. And then there's obviously other goodies in there if you guys want to go check it out. But first and foremost, go be a part of the crew. Go to ownthechaos.com. We'd love to have you guys over there.
So asking you guys, I just want to throw that question out to you. Let me know. I don't need a price target. I'm just asking, which one do you think comes first, 900 or 1,200? Which one do we see next? The other question, PW Coaching, what will Elon do with the money? Elon's it's been documented that he's actually using it to pay his taxes.
Yeah.
On options that were exercised.
But
that expired. Options that expired.
Yeah.
But wouldn't know what?
I would just be curious as to like what he does with the
remaining money.
The cash that gets raised. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's he doing? Like, is he just going to buy stock back? I mean, what do you do with that kind of money? If, it's crazy. I think you just reinvest it. If it were me, you can't spend all that.
If I were Elon, I don't think I would reinvest it into Tesla. I think I would, I'm sure like you have Starlink, you have the Boring Company, and you have SpaceX, right?
True.
I think you go to SpaceX and you get a greater share of SpaceX. Because remember at the beginning of Tesla, like not at the beginning, but when Tesla was public, like he threatened to take it private. You remember that?
Yeah.
I think there's a certain level of frustration with like a company going public. And so I think like having some sort of, or like a greater share is important to him. So that's just my speculation, is invest in another company.
You want to know my speculation?
What? He buys Doge?
Buys $1 billion worth of Doge. That would be some shit. Elon goes in and buys some Doge. He will break the internet.
Mad Dick says Tesla's P is 337. He would break the internet. You're right. And no way it's an investment for me. Tesla's only a trade for me. Very simple. That's fair. Nikki B 900. Mr. B market 1100 end of day. Okay. 7% move. I think you're meaning tomorrow, end of day tomorrow.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Neuralink. Yeah. Sorry, I said Neuralink. Yeah, Neuralink.
Yeah.
Elon money is reinvested into him retiring on the planet Mars. His goal is to die on Mars, not on impact.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that would be great. If he bought it back, that would be the ultimate turnaround. That'd be awesome.
That would be.
So anyways, all that said, those are the highlights, as believe it or not, guys. Lastly, let's close out on earnings for this week. So I think sort of like it's safe to say the big dogs are behind us, but we still have some good ones. We can't underestimate this week's of earnings. Rather than necessarily, I'll just run through some key ones and then we'll just talk about specifics. Lucid after hours on Monday. Advanced Auto Parts, you may be interested in.
Yeah.
We'll go day by day. All right. So Lucid, Ideanomics, Advanced Auto Parts, Desktop Metal, if you're interested in that. What are those? Any of those stand out to you?
Yeah. So Lucid obviously stands out. I think that those earnings is going to be the catalyst that brings it back down to earth.
Okay.
The stock, we take a look at the stock here real quick. This has gone pretty crazy, obviously, and the earnings aren't going to be that great. I don't think there's going to be anything in there that would surprise anybody. We've already seen the catalyst as far as vehicles being delivered, so that won't be on this earnings report. Obviously, they could give us some guidance on what they're expecting, and maybe that gets the stock going again. But I think that the run up into earnings here is just about done, and we could see a selling of the news on those earnings.
What if they said deliveries went well, better than expected? We're gonna keep we may be able to pump more out than we thought.
It would have to be crazy. I
Okay.
mean, their market cap is right up there with Ford and GM right now, and
Rivian.
no, well, Rivian's more than Lucid, but yeah. It's more than Ford's, and I think it's right at where GM's is.
Yeah.
So this is just crazy to me to see it all the way up here, and I think that they would have to do something astronomically positive for this to go up any higher.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's my thoughts.
Tuesday pre-market, Walmart, Home Depot. It's been a monster. Aramark, Jumia. What about those? Which ones stand out?
I think for me, the laggard in kind of like the big box stores, big box retail has been Walmart.
Yeah.
I love the home builders. I think Home Depot is going to do fine. It's already been a monster this year, but Walmart, I think it has come back somewhat. We take a look at the chart here too. It has come back and kind of gotten rejected here at 150. But if you take a look at its at a competitor like Costco, hasn't had nearly the kind of move. And we take a look at something like, let's just look at the Costco chart, for example. This is in the same competitive space. It's going off like a rocket ship. And Walmart's much bigger than Costco is. And I think that leading into obviously the holiday season, Walmart should have a really upbeat outlook. So I think that Walmart's definitely the one to watch out of that particular day. And even Target's also had a ridiculous move. So in my opinion, I think Walmart's the bargain here, but I think they all continue to do well regardless.
Yeah, Walmart year to date is only up 2.5%.
Yeah,
which is wild. And if you can pull up, you pulled up Costco, but I think Target's the one you also got to look at as well.
Yeah,
it's up 50%.
It's ridiculous
year to date. So I agree with you. I think Walmart. I don't even understand why, but I think it is one of the safest upside plays out there right now.
Yeah. If I was going to put money on anything this week and I only had one stock to put it on and I was afraid to lose any money,
that would be it.
It would be Walmart.
Okay. I like that. I got to ask about Aramark because Aramark's one I'm a big fan of.
I love Aramark too. I think that, you look at the way that Live Nation's earnings went, and obviously they had some tough stuff to go through last week, but Live Nation had huge earnings, and not that Aramark's a competitor, but they're in that same space. We talked about them before. We go to Ravens games all the time. They're a vendor for the Baltimore Ravens, and vendors for everything under the sun. I think that they actually do well.
All right, not much Tuesday after hours. Wednesday,
the big dog.
Target pre-market, I do pre-market, Lowe's pre-market.
Yep.
TJ Maxx pre-market, pretty good pre-market. After hours, Nvidia, Sonos, Cisco, Bath and Body Works. I guess those are the ones that are on there. What do you think?
Obviously, Nvidia is going to be the big one to watch. Everybody's going to tune in to our live stream on Wednesday because they want to see Nvidia's earnings. But honestly, bro, I'm kind of excited about Sonos.
Yeah,
I think Sonos is going to do really well. We take a look at that stock too, and it's had a monster year as well. I think that this is something that I don't know. I think that Sonos, we've seen that they had a recent partner with Volkswagen, and they just continue to crush it. I just think that's low key under the radar, kind of like stock that nobody's going to really pay attention to because Nvidia. But watch that stock; it probably does outperform.
Can you go to? Well, that's not Sonos. Can you go to the daily?
Yeah, hold on. I got it. There we go. Boom.
Yeah, it looks right at the 50-day. It looks actually really good. Really, it looks like a good setup.
So it's at a decent buy level.
I like that. I might get in that.
Yeah, their last earnings were rocking, and it did really well. And this is corrected and hasn't really participated with everybody else in their space. So I think that Sonos actually is one to watch for. I think this actually has a lot of upside. If you're worried about getting into Nvidia that's gone ape shit and it's way up here. Maybe give Sonos a look.
Yeah, that might be on the Monday watch list.
Yeah, I like it.
And if you guys are interested in the watch list, we send them watch list every day before the market opens. 5 stocks we are watching. It's a free daily watch list. Click the link in the description. It'll send you to ownthechaos.com. We'll see you there.
Yes.
All right. Thursday, pre-market, BABA. We talked about BABA. JD.com, Kohl's, Macy's, Petco, Canadian Solar, BJ's, After Hours, Applied Materials, Intuit, Palo Alto, Workday, Williams Sonoma. Those are the ones. What do you got?
Kohl's gave an incredible guidance to their last earnings, and it had a little bit of a pullback. And I want you guys to take a look at this chart, because the chart is due for a really big breakout, and I think those earnings could certainly do it for Kohl's. It's gone up and retested here around the $60 to $65 area, and I think that a move over $65 really kind of brings about a huge breakout here. But we're in a little bit of a cup and handle pattern here on Kohl's as well. I think that they have a monster move, and we've speculated before that maybe Amazon could be working out a deal with Kohl's. And I'm not saying that Kohl's announces that this earnings, but that's certainly still on the table, in my opinion. And so I think that looking at this, and I think that they'll have a really good outlook. I think demand is still absolutely nuts, and we've seen that from some of the other retailers. You can obviously see that this has had a decent bounce back after the correction that it had when the whole market corrected over September and October. But I think that this is poised to go higher, especially if we see this consolidate leading into earnings.
I wanted to ask you about Applied Materials. I'm still in it. It's 80% up, 80% year to date. Is this due for a pullback?
I think so. The breakout obviously took place. This is a perfect chart, and we talked about this last earnings, and just the sideways channel this has been in. And then, watching for the breakout here. Obviously, the breakout took place. I think there's certainly maybe there's still room left in the tank, gas left in the tank here. But I think that the move's kind of already been made. I would wait till this comebacks and maybe retest around that 145 area.
And then Friday, one I care about a lot, I'm also in this one, is Foot Locker.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Foot Locker?
My sentiments around Foot Locker are the same sentiments that I have for Kohl's and Macy's, by the way. Macy's has earnings, what we say yesterday on Thursday as well.
Yeah.
So I think that Foot Locker certainly has the move in it as well. We take a look at that chart, and that looks pretty good too. We see this start to make a move up around $55 a share, which is also around the 200-day moving average. And that looks good too. Anything in retail right now, I think, is poised to make a move higher leading into the end of the year, period.
Do you think that Foot Locker will hit 52-week highs before the end of the year?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's on the table.
All right, cool. Well, there you guys have it. Those are earnings this week. Make sure you check out our live streams, because we will be live reacting to the earnings. So every day we mention, we'll be live Monday through Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'll stay live through the bell, and we'll pull up earnings. We'll react to the earnings, give our general thoughts and our predictions regarding that. So make sure you guys hit the like button just to be generous, but hit that subscribe and the notification bell so you're notified when we go live. That's all I got, man.
That's all I got too, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Make sure, again, to go to ownthechaos.com for your free watch list that we put out every single day of the week. Again, that's ownthechaos.com. And guys, we'll see you tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Bye.